Hey there, fellow rocket builders. Rodamon here. Thank you for tuning in to Stationeer's Brutal Vulcan. Episode 58. Building a survey rocket piece by piece. And what we're doing in the middle of the pad is building... Let me just take this off for now. We're building this. So, if you take a look at the guide... Let me pause first. The first thing you're going to want is a launch mount. A launch mount stays on the rocket pad, and it's where you install engine mounts and then engines to be able to launch. And it's the first piece that you place when building a rocket, as you can see in the guide. And the launch mount requires a frame on every side. So if you think of a plus sign, the middle is the launch mount, and then the four sides is frames. That is the requirement. It could be iron, it could be steel, and it will need 8 steel sheets total. And we need 60 to make it, so let's go make it now. And it's also potentially something that gets destroyed, I will warn, because if a rocket fails to land, it's going to blow up everything below it, right? Like, it's going to kablamo, everything goes up in flames. So just, like, keep that in mind as you build. Everything near the rocket launch mount has the potential to be destroyed. Which is why I will build longer umbilical tower stuff. This will make more sense in a bit. So, if I build my umbilicals here, 1, 2, 3, 4, launch mount here. I think that's safe. It's physically far enough away from the critical infrastructure of the base, right? If I had a rocket blow up there, it's probably not going to do any damage here. Maybe I'll have it be even further out, because the physical distance doesn't really matter. So I'll have it be here. So let me clean up some of this nonsense. So the launch mount will go here. And that's very far away from where a failed landing is going to cause damage. For my convenience, I intend to have it be framed all around so I can walk around it, because, like, below me is, like, lava in some places, so I don't really want to fall and have a dramatic villain death into a lava or whatever. So this is essentially our launch pad. And then the umbilical towers. So the way it works is your launch mount will be here, your rocket will be built up here in fuselages, and then you need a umbilical tower nearby to feed it fuel and power and potentially cargo that retracts when you... Oh, Jesus. When you are ready to launch. Otherwise, you, like, break your umbilicals, which is not fun. So the umbilical tower that I'm going to have will go around here. And I'm going to create, like, a little platform here so that I don't fall regularly. And I might need some additional frames just for comfort. And I will mine this out so that it's not covered by a mountain. So all of this is going to be... It's unnecessary to have the frames here for the umbilical tower. It will make more sense when I have the umbilical tower built, but just for my convenience, this is what I'm doing. I set it to flatten. I'm just removing some of the unnecessary garbage around it. Does it have to be oriented? Just wait and see. The umbilical is definitely going to be one of those things. It's going to make a lot more sense once you physically see how it works than for me to just pointlessly describe it. Alright, so that's done. The rocket mount should be... Oh, no storms? That's good. The rocket mount should be hypothetically ready to go. I just didn't want to wait for it because it was one of those, like, takes forever to print type blueprints. And before I forget, unflattening the mining tool. So there's the mount. The mount is going to need 8 steel sheets, which we have on us. The next thing I want is the tower. The launch tower, which is how you install the umbilicals. And for the first one, I'll probably want a tower, like a 3-high tower. So before I go out, I'll get what we need for a 3-high tower. Checking up. That looks fine. That's fine. That's fine. Okay, cool. All gas and whatnot is totally normal. And these are your support towers. This is where you install the umbilicals on that connects to your rocket that can retract. And these, I believe, do not require any additional installation material. No, just launch tower. So it doesn't require steel sheets or anything like that. They're just set and forget. Come on. And yeah, it's pretty crazy. This little printer is making like a rocket that can go to space on a planet that has like 50% Earth's atmo, or Earth's gravity. Actually, with that in mind, Vulcan's atmosphere is technically thinner. I don't think that for the purposes of rocket launches, air resistance matters at all. So like night launches aren't any easier than day launches. I could be mistaken about that, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. Those aren't calculated. So here you can see the launch mount, and you need the 4 supports on either all 4 sides of cardinal directions, right, to put the mount down. So obviously I already have that, so it's no problem. And then let's build it. Launch mount is set up. The destination codes you don't need to worry about right now. The weird like hex code there. It's not important for you to understand that, at least not yet. And then let's put the umbilicals here, or the tower here, where the umbilicals are going to attach to. So we're going to have a very small rocket here, and then the umbilicals installed here that will then connect to the rocket. So the next part of this is to start to actually build a rocket and build the support tower for the rocket. All visible from there. And then we'll run that cable down and connect everything up. Plus like fuel lines, etc. All right, next is, following the guide, because I think that's probably the easiest way for you to visualize this. If we go back to rockets, after you build the launch mount, you'll want an engine mount, and then the pumped gas engine. So the engine mount is a kit from fuselage, and then the pump gas engine is its own thing. So engine mount's the next part. Which is part of the fuselage kit. So the current priority now is build a rocket on the pad. I'm going to eat and drink while that runs. You know, you could probably, like... No, never mind. I was going to say you could probably game the system by eating mostly potato and then finishing off with bread, but I think it averages for hydration, so that wouldn't really work for min-maxing nutrition and hydration. Where are the Kerbals? Ah, there are none. Unfortunately. It used to be that you could actually launch yourself and to change physical locations, but that isn't a mechanic anymore. Alright, we have 25 liters of water. One thing I have not done, which I should have or could have, is to, okay, yeah, our water production is finished, so I'll power that off. Is to put in a pressure there. But whatever, it's not a big deal. Still fuselaging? Yep, still fuselaging. And essentially, aux filter is dying. Alright, once this fuselage is done, give me that steel. We're going to make a heavy filter for oxygen. So this fuselage can be an engine mount, which is what we're going to want. It can also be a fairing, which is required at the top. Or it could be fuselages, which is required in the middle. So we're going to need 3 of them for this first build. 1 engine mount, 1 fuselage with doors, and 1 fairing at the top. Because the first rocket we're launching is like going to be just a survey rocket. So let me update the priority. Build a survey rocket on the pad. Oh, he shoots, he fails. Because I suck at... That was smart. But let's get also the pumped gas rocket engine, which is copper and gold, which I'll grab now. That's in here. So the engine mount requires a steel sheet to be wrenched to it, and I only have 2 steel sheets, so I'm running low on steel. And then additionally, the pumped gas engine is going to need pipes and steel sheets, so I need to print up some more steel sheets, but also pipes. So I'm going to need 5 pipes total, so let's get those as well. That was weird. Before I print those, yeah, only make 1 of those. Do I have any pipes? Regular pipes? No, I don't. Okay. So we got the engine mount. Let's get a few more steel sheets. Do you need the survey to send the mining one? Well, yes. You need to survey what you're mining. You can't just, like, mine things you don't know or exist. So you could, for your first launch, build a survey and mining rocket, which is entirely reasonable. I'm just not doing it. I explained this at the start of the stream, that my first launch is going to be the simple one to make it easy for you all to understand. I'm not overcomplicating it on first pass, by design. You can do things your own way. This is my way. My way is to build a very simple Surveyor rocket for the first launch. That's what I wanted. But obviously, you know, the choice is yours when you do it for yourself. Alright, so we'll build one more fuselage. I'm not going to have that be on autoprint. And let's get these set up. The engine mount installed, and then the piped gas rocket engine installed. Yeah, so I mentioned before that pretty much all rockets should have the ability to survey, because when you mine, you can't mine things you haven't surveyed first. And the survey requirements are pretty cheap, so it's not like a big deal to survey, to add survey to all rockets. Also, we are now at a point where I can have my first raffle. This rocket's going to have a name. So, raffle timer's up. Let me actually ignore that raffle timer. The eligibility hasn't been reset. Okay, it's reset now. So, instead of calling it Rocket 93266, we'll name it. So there is the rocket mount. And then we want the engine. Right, like that. Pipes. Steel sheets. And here, as you can see, it has a gas intake and power and data intakes. Important to note. Well, there you go. The start of the rocket. So the next part is to get 2 fuselages. One with doors and one for fairings at the top. Stream 10 in this first raffle? No. It makes sense to name your rockets, because the default name of, like, Rocket 93266, it's like, no, I don't want that. I want this to be the, you know, rad survey rocket, or, you know, something like that. So this is the fuselage for the doors, and then we're going to get the fairing at top, and then we'll set up the fuel, the batteries, the umbilicals, that jazz. That comes next. I'm going to add a little bit more oxygen to the base because I've increased the volume, but I haven't actually filled it. And I don't want to get so close that it damages my lungs by trying to breathe in here, but I don't want to use up all my oxygen. So I'm going to leave like 7 kilomoles of oxygen left in the system. Because this oxygen in the pipes are, you know, my rocket fuel as well. It's important to remember. So the fuselage for doors, so if we build the, 115 days. If we build the doors, that's also 2 more steel sheets. And then if we build the cone, the, let's say, fairing A1, that's another. So I'm going to need to print even more steel sheets. I printed too few last pass. Temp, pressure, CO2, O2 looks good. We've got 9 kilomoles, 7. I'm actually going to want some more volatiles. And then eventually more CO2, but I don't want to pump CO2 and volatiles at the same time because it would heat up my coolant loop. My coolant loop's down to 35, down from like 42, which is good. And then the intake for the night gas is at 55, which is great. So there's 6 kilomoles of volatiles ready to be filtered, which is excellent. Oh, this doesn't... yeah, it doesn't stack. Okay. My propellant's looking pretty bad. Get that refilled. Alright, let's say that's enough steel sheets for now. I'm sure I'll need more later, and I'll probably need to make steel later. Alright, now that that's done, the intention for the survey rocket is to have a lot of power so it can stay in orbit surveying, but not a lot of fuel. I only want to put enough fuel in there to get it up into an orbit. It doesn't need to come back down to the planet. It doesn't really need to go anywhere else. It just goes up once, orbits like a satellite, like a geosync satellite, or like a LEO satellite. And in this case, it would be VO. A low, or no, low Vulcan orbit. So LV, whatever. Yeah, so it doesn't need a lot of fuel, which means the tank that we're going to put in it is just going to be a small tank. And congratulations, Nabla, you are the survey rocket. So the tanks are small, large, or medium, and honestly, a small tank's going to be enough for like a surveyor. For batteries, we're going to need a bunch of rocket batteries, though, because it's going to be up in orbit for a while, so skimp on the fuel, do not skimp on the batteries. And as far as batteries go, there is the battery medium and aux battery. The aux battery, I think it tells you. Rocket, what power it holds. One is obviously better than the other. So rocket battery, the battery mediums hold 3.6 megawatts, which is the same as the station batteries that we have installed. And the auxiliary batteries hold half that. So we're going to want the battery mediums, which is 2 rocket battery kits. So actually, I'm going to say we're going to need 6 kits. Because we want 3 medium batteries. But for the fuel, the rocket gas tank, we just want 1 small, which is just a single one. How is the amount of fuel calculated to get the rocket only up with delta V? I mean, you're asking a question that is answered with patience, is how I'm going to answer you. Wait and see. With everything I'm doing right now, everything is like a wait and see. It will make a lot more sense once we're further along the building process. Alright, so those are my batteries. Got a lot of them. And my fuel can. And that's about all I can fit right now. The other parts that are going to be inside the rocket is going to be the avionics. So, I really actually don't... Well, I'll put my network analyzer away. And my mining belt away. So we're going to want a downlink and avionics. And that's basically all that goes in the rocket other than, like, plumbing and cabling. So avionics is just so that it can fly. All rockets require avionics. And then the data link is not the same size. There's the ground uplink, but the rocket downlink. So this is the uplink. I already made one in my rocket control room. The downlink is this size. It's much smaller. And that gets installed in the rocket as well. So, just to recap. Rocket. The parts we're putting in the rocket for the first one, I haven't built the survey scanner yet, but we have the launch mount built, the engine mount built, the pump gas engine built. We are installing the fuel tank and the batteries, and then it needs avionics, right? And a downlink. And then we're also going to add a scanner and scanner head. So the scanner and scanner head are the only things we haven't added yet. In fact, I would go so far as to say I'm going to put the data link and the avionics aside right now, because the scanner and scanner head are more important right now because it's larger. So the rocket scanner allows you to chart and survey, which is what this whole rocket is for. And then the scanner head is just like just required for it to work. They just require a scanner head, which is like a consumable object for it. I don't know why. It seems antiquated or weird or something. I don't know. Don't ask me, I don't have the answers. But it's just required. Once this all is installed, we'll have a working rocket that then needs to be powered and fueled with umbilicals and then launched. So here's the scanner, and it's this big. You can see why I wanted to put it in now, because it's more of a size constraint than the little avionics and uplink, which can go in the fairing cone. And then we want the scanner head. What? This requires a single steel sheet, so I've got that on me. Yeah, that's probably enough vols. 11 kilomoles. Because, I mean, realistically, we'd need like 14.4 to match the amount of oxygen we have, but we don't need that much fuel for our first launch, so that's enough volatiles. I'm more concerned about the temperature. So this is at 36, that's at 36. As long as they're nearly the same temperature, we're making fuel and not something weird. So now that I'm no longer inputting volatile gas, we'll let the temperatures equalize. And I still have 5 kilomoles of volatile gas ready to be put into the system too. So that's enough for now. All right, let's get out there and install this stuff. So suit, batteries, fine. Lights. One is my welder is low on bat. There we go. Oops, wrong battery. What about my other tools? Angle grinder was low. Screwdriver was not low, but I'll swap it. Alright, let's get this stuff installed. It's going to look a lot more like a rocket in a second. That's for sure. So next is the fuselage, and I just personally like the fuselage with doors. You can use whatever you want. This is a personal preference. So this will be a doored fuselage. And then at the top is the fairing cone. I'll just do A1. And that's our rocket. Little mini rocket. That's all it needs to be for a survey. Let's go ahead and build the fuselage with doors, but not the fairing cone, because the fairing cone is going to have stuff installed in it. So open it up so we can build inside. Let's go ahead and name it the Novelist Surveyor. And now the rocket's called the Novelist Surveyor rocket. We are going to want to put in the... Oh, my fuel is here. Okay. We're going to want a small fuel tank. Well, actually, let's do umbilicals next. So I'm going to want 2 power and 2 fuel umbilicals. I know it's a little weird to be doing that when I have all these parts on me, but it will help to figure out the logistics, I think. So I'm going to put these parts away as well for now. So the batteries and the scanner and the fuel tank or umbilicals. So we need 2 gas umbilicals, 1 in the rocket and 1 on the tower, and then 2 power umbilicals, 1 in the rocket, 1 on the tower, to be able to hook up power and gas to fill the rocket up. And I'm running low on steel, so we might want to batch up another batch. I probably missed the window to smelt today, but we can get it tomorrow. The other thing we're going to want is, inside the rocket, we can just use regular old cable coils. It's just the... I don't really have spots to put this down, so I'll just stick it in. It's all the heavy cables are required outside of the rocket, so let's get some cable coils. And then the other thing I'm going to want is insulated piping. I'll use just the default orange, because that is also the color of fuel, as far as I'm concerned. So print up some more insulated pipes for that purpose. I should have not put my steel in there. But if we're printing up pipes, I'll need silicon in there. Yeah, let's stop that a moment. Okay, we have a bunch of pipe printing and cable printing so that we can actually hook up the insides. Alright, that should be enough. I'll probably be back for more, but let's at least get this done. So the way the umbilicals work is, as long as they're the same elevation pointing at each other, they will connect to one another. This will, I'm sure you have questions, this will make more sense, just wait and see. But for the gas umbilical, I'll set my power and gas, like, gas there. So if the gas is at this level, and we put the gas umbilical connector over here at the same elevation, when you do that correctly, you'll see this little pipe line up so it can connect to it. So that means it's at the same elevation. And then for power, I'm going to have power up a level. Or actually, I don't know exactly where power is going to be, but let's for now be up a level and there. And what will end up happening is once these are powered up, we'll be able to hit the extend, and it will extend the umbilical cords to then connect to the rocket to fuel it and power it, and then we can retract it when we want to launch it. And you can have umbilicals be closer, but I suggest being further, because if a rocket fails to land, you don't really want your service tower to be destroyed in the process. It's kind of annoying to have to rebuild all that. So I highly suggest having your umbilicals like 4 or 5 tiles back, so that they don't get, like, kablooied when your rocket goes bad. So I don't exactly know where my power umbilical is going to go. I'd rather install the batteries first, but what I can do is hook up the fuel. And we'll have like a fuel tank here once that is all connected. So let's go grab the other parts so we can start to set up the insides. So I want the scanner and the batteries. Scanner, check. The order of operations, setting up the batteries and power and data are very important. Essentially, the umbilical should go from the power umbilical to the batteries, and then the battery output to the rest of the rocket. So treat all of the batteries input should be the umbilical, and then the output should be all of the data and power to the rocket, if that makes sense. And it's important to do that because if your avionics on your rocket can't connect to every other component of your rocket, it can't control it either. So if your avionics and your rocket downlink is somehow in its own data network, your rocket is broken and won't work. That's just really important to note because it's really... do I have the scanner? Wait, did I never make a scanner head? Did I not wait for that to finish? Or is it in my uniform? Oh, it's right here. Oh my god. Brain. Brain, start braining better. Alright, so... yeah, let's get the batteries hooked up. And the rocket batteries require... oh, I don't have the electronic parts for them. I will need 12 electronic parts. Let's get that going. Cheers. Where to put my iron? In there? So the batteries need 12 electronic parts total, and then the avionics needs 2, so it's 14. And I think the downlink needs 2, so that's 16 total. So I might as well just print 16. I think that's the sum of all of the electronic parts I'll require, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, does the scanner need one? No. So, 16 electronic parts. The avionics needs steel sheets. And then the downlink just needs cable coils and electronic parts. Okay. Okay, good. I might run low on cable coils, but, like, at least I have most of what I think I'm going to need for some setup. So let's go plumb up a fuel tank. Balance does not matter. I say that because, like, it doesn't matter if things are weighed on one side or another. So you don't need to worry about, like, oh no, my rocket's lopsided. It has a dry mass that's like the total sum. But unlike Kerbal Space Program, where, like, you're gonna need symmetry so that your rocket doesn't lead to one side or another, this doesn't require that. It's just only total mass. So as far as the batteries go, we have input-output. And I think... I think what I'll do... I'm actually going to change where they're set up. Because I want to put them, like, all in a row. Like that. Which means I'm gonna probably change where they're exactly installed, but it's close enough. Alright, so these need cable coils, 10 each. And then the electronic parts, 4 each. With a screwdriver. And you want their data ports and power ports. So this is the input where we charge them up, not to be obfuscated, not to be covered by anything else. So when power comes into the rocket, it will feed to all 3 inputs. And this is the important part to make sure the data works. And then the output needs to then connect to everything. So this output cable is where all of the data and power needs to connect to. Otherwise, your rocket won't work correctly. So then the cables come off the output, and this is the network I'm building right now is the ultimate network that has to connect to everything. So it has to connect to every battery, it has to connect to every fuel tank. Any data port basically connects to this here, or your rocket won't work correctly. Because it won't be able to be controlled. And don't forget about the bottom port too. That is on your engine. Because, you know, if you can't turn on your engine, you ain't going nowhere. So I'm out of cables. So we're going to need to print up some additional cables. But, yeah, that works. So more cables, but the insulated... well, the pipes, I'll need more too. So at that elevation, I guess it's fine. Thank you for tuning in to Stationeers Brutal Vulcan, which originally streamed live on Twitch. If you have any questions for me, let me know in the comments below. If you'd like to catch a live stream of mine, Rodamont.com has my stream schedule and countdown timers to upcoming streams. If you'd like to join my online gaming community on Discord, Rodamont.com has a link to it, as does the description of this video. Thank you so very much for watching. Special thank you to my Twitch subscribers, Patreon patrons, and viewers like you that support the channel and made it all the way to the credits. Thank you so very much. I hope to catch you next episode or an upcoming stream. Farewell, my fellow engineers.